Hey everyone, today I'm creating an eclectic group of cards using one paper pad. This paper pad is from Honeybee Studios and it is called Holiday Cheer. It's intended, I believe, for holiday or Christmas cards, but I'm going to use it differently today to create cards for various occasions. And I'm going to do that using the Just Crafts 6x6 One Sheet Wonder number 9. You can see here I'm pulling the paper pad apart and you'll get a quick glimpse of each of the pattern papers. A lot of them are very, very neutral, which means there is an absolute ability to mix and match these in very, very different ways. And oops, you can see there that I actually tore the last page. I really, really hate that there's paper pads instead of paper packs. I would so much rather it was individual sheets of paper like Paper Rose and Brutus Monroe do. So shout out to all of the companies that use the glue across the top. That means I have to trim the edge every time and sometimes I tear them. What I'm going to do here though is I'm running through each of the papers and I'm cutting them down to 2x3 inches. So I'm going to get 6 pieces of paper out of each and I'm going to use those to create 2 cards per piece. So with a 24-page pattern paper pack, I'm going to get 48 cards in total. Well, kind of. There is one exception, and that is the sentiment sheet that I'm cutting down here. Because the entire 6x6 piece of pattern paper was completely covered in small sentiments, I only used one of these. So on the flip side is some green trees. I'm going to use one of these as sentiments and one for the green trees, which means instead of getting 48 cards today, I'm going to get 46 in total. This is the first time I've actually seen a paper pad have this many sentiments and them be this easy to trim. Normally there's different sizes or there's small cut aparts or there's pictures merged in with images, but this was very straightforward and very easy to do. Now I'm not going to be able to use all of the sentiments because some of them are just not appropriate for what I'm trying to achieve, but I really appreciate that they were in the pack. Okay, now this is the fun stuff. This is where I'm trying to figure out which side of the pattern paper am I going to use and how am I going to bundle together 3 pieces to make some really, really cool cards that I'm happy with. I decided pretty quickly that I would start with the florals as the front element. And I've got 2 of the burgundy with the red pinky flowers. And then I have the teal color one that I'm working on now with the greens and teals. And I'm trying to figure out how do I do a color combination that makes those flowers pop and doesn't compete. You might notice that I have multiple stacks here of the same pattern paper. Because each sheet gets used 6 2x3, there are some instances where I've used the same side of the sheet twice, so I have 12, and I'm just trying to keep track of how many I have of each so that when I put them in the piles here as potentially completed color combinations, I know what I have left to work through. Now that I have a few of the teal ones sorted out, I'm going back across to the red. I was really not happy with the 2 burgundy layers behind. It just didn't seem to add enough interest. So I try a whole ton of color combinations here. And then I finally land on the one that I really love. And this is my favorite design in the whole pack. And that is the burgundy with the pinky color and the floral. So the one on the top, second from the left. For the rest of these, they were a bit more straightforward. So I've got a few that are pale tones and I'm really trying to use these green trees. And I've worked out a couple of combinations that work and I think some of them look more Christmassy than others. I'm now going through and adding a white matting layer to each of the rectangles. Given that they're 2x3, the matting layer is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I just cut loads of them out with my trimmer and then I'm running through and adding them in bulk style, and I've been using my ATG in between just to add some adhesive to the back of the rectangles. I'm not going to show you any more of this because it is very, very straightforward, but the reality is there's a lot of rectangles and they do take a little while. To make sure that I don't have a lot of white space on my cards, I do like to add a matting layer, and for this paper pad, I've decided to use the craft color for all of the color combinations. So it doesn't matter what I'm putting on top of it, the craft seems to work really well. Here I'm putting together the first card and I'm just trying to get my spacing right. So I need to leave a gap at the top and the bottom that are the same width and then have at least a gap in between so that the matte layers aren't overlapping. And this seems to be the sweet spot right here. So this is the design that I'll be using moving forward. and that is not a Christmas card. I will happily use that for a birthday or a thank you, and that fills me with joy. I love not having to use all of my Christmas papers for Christmas cards all the time. The other thing that I often do is I create the projects in phases. So now that I've got all my color combinations sorted and I've cut my matting layers out, I didn't have time to go through and create all the cards in one sitting. That would take a really long time. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting them all into just little Ziploc bags. These are little ones from IKEA. And then I pop them aside, and then I have a project that I can come to and complete at a later date. If you are enjoying the video, it would be fantastic if you could hit the like button. That is how YouTube knows to share the video to more viewers. Okay, a few days have passed and I've now started working on my cards again. And the first one I'm going to complete is this one with the torn corner. So I've collected a whole bunch of sentiments and little bits and pieces out of my stash and spread them out on my desk in piles. And then I've got my color combinations all sorted because I did all of my pre-planning. And now I'm going to attach this together, and I originally thought this was going to be a bit tricky to cover because it doesn't matter where I put that corner, it's going to be either at the bottom of the card or over to an edge. But I decided that a happy birthday in a circle can be offset in a weird and wonderful way, and I think that works just fine. So for the rest of them, I did do little rectangle happy birthdays because I think it suits the layout a little better. But I was able to use one of my leftover circles to complete that card, even though it had been damaged a little bit during the very first step of creating the cards. So now that I've run through with this color combination, I'm trying to work out how do I add something to this that is not Christmas related. And in my stash, I did have some of these super cute little gnomes. So I will put a link below to everything that I've used today. And this gnome die, you'll see them pop up in different card videos of mine because they are really, really perfect to sit on top of pattern paper. They're a perfect size element. They're not too huge and they're not too tiny. So they're always kind of my go-to if I have a few left over in my stash. They're actually also really great to actually use up scraps of pattern paper because you just run it through and then color piece the gnomes together in weird and wonderful ways. This one here is, again, one of these florals, and I just kept this super simple, and I've just put a really standard just happy birthday. This one is matted, so I've matted it in black just so that it stands out from the paper. And I didn't want to mat it in white because it would have overhung the other white matting, so the black makes it stand out a little nicer. For this bundle, I decided to lean into the fact that they really do look like Christmas. I mean, with the bottle kind of green and the burgundy and then the green with the trees, I thought it would be the perfect time to use some of the cut aparts. I ran through and used a combination. Some of them say Happy Christmas, some say Merry Christmas, but I really leaned into it and thought these ones are the ones that I think, I can't deny the fact that they definitely look like Christmas. For these two here, I was trying to figure out what to use and I thought these sailboats would look great. In the end, I had these teeny tiny happy birthday stamps and they fitted perfectly on the 3x2 rectangle. So I have a feeling that I should create some more of those and I'd be able to get some great cards out of using this sketch moving forward. I have decided that I'm going to stretch myself creatively over the holiday break and I am going to use some of my card kits. I have a few that I purchased from Uniquely Creative and those look absolutely fantastic, but I also purchased a bunch of them that were discounted from Spellbinders. One of the things that I purchased was a pack of 6 card kits, and these are some of the older styles and designs, and I thought I would give them a go. I'll put a link below to the pack that I bought, and if there's any of those that jump out to you that you'd like to see me use first, then please put a comment, and I will see if I can do them in an order that people want to see. Now here I am just finishing everything off with the gnomes. These are super, super cute. And as I said earlier, I used scrap pattern paper to create the gnomes. And normally I'd be a little bit fussy about it, but there's a denim jeans beard on that gnome and I still think he looks super cute. So I don't think there's any rules about what color each piece needs to be. And so running it through your die cutting machine and creating unique color combinations works really, really well. For these ones here, I'm adding a star and a happy birthday. I had these in my stash and I had the perfect number to finish off these 4 cards. I have added a link here to a video that I think you might enjoy. Have a great day.